Prepare to encounter a profound, ancient spiritual guardian this evening, an awe-inspiring intermediary, forging a direct link between the physical journey you currently walk on Earth and the epic cosmic destiny inscribed for you among the constellations. It doesn't matter if you have arrived today seeking solutions to exact inquiries, or if you simply bring an open and inquisitive consciousness. This meditative session is designed entirely for your benefit. And I consider it a profound privilege to lead you through this evening's atmospheric voyage. Feel free to fall into a deep slumber whenever you wish during this process. Just ensure you are situated in a secure, cozy environment where you can entirely let go. As you get comfortable, recognize that there are absolutely no prior requirements to participate in this experience. Perhaps you have met ethereal guardians in the past, or maybe this concept is completely unprecedented for you. Regardless of your background, this exercise will adapt to your current state, revealing any knowledge and profound understandings that are prepared to surface. Therefore, draw in a handful of unhurried, purifying breaths to help yourself relax. Understand that you are entirely allowed to permit your thoughts to relax and broaden. There will be no necessity to push for inner visions or demand that solutions appear. Just allow my voice to lead you, and the profound knowledge will manifest itself smoothly and gracefully. Prior to venturing toward the realm where your guardian dwells, we will spend some time relaxing your physical form. Our consciousness expands in direct proportion to how much our physical form lets go, thereby creating the ideal conditions for a more profound encounter, establishing a bond rooted in faith and mindfulness instead of strain and exertion. Shift your focus at this moment to the bottom of your feet, visualizing that you can direct a complete inhalation entirely down into that area. When you breathe out, encourage your feet to yield, completely letting go of the events of the day that has passed. Your feet lie gently and weightily upon the mattress below you, while your consciousness moves upward into the ankle joints. Direct a gradual, comforting breath into your ankles at this time. Next, bring your awareness to the lower legs, instructing them to press slightly further into the supporting surface below. These calf muscles settle peacefully while your focus travels up to the knee joints. Direct tender attention into these hinges, softening slightly with each exhalation. Following that, steer your mindfulness toward your upper legs. Spend a short time allowing these large muscles to relax, dropping downward with the pull of gravity toward the ground underneath. Draw in another unhurried, consistent inhalation, flowing down through both of your limbs. And during your exhalation, experience them unwinding even more fully. These limbs are aware that they do not have to move anywhere in the physical world this evening. Shift your concentration at this moment into your hip area before letting it pull and occupy the whole region of your pelvis. Visualize the base of your spine anchoring deeply into the ground, offering a profound feeling of stability and backing. While respiring in this space, permit your whole pelvic zone to become progressively open and profoundly untensed. This tranquil sensation spreads outward to occupy your abdominal region. Permit your abdomen to elevate and descend organically with every round of breathing, letting go of any tightness or clenching. As your abdomen relaxes, encourage your focus to ascend slightly further up. Sense your ribcage softly widening outward on all sides, toward the anterior, through the lateral edges, and backward into your spine. The muscular tissues along your spine yield completely. After that, your focus settles for several respirations within the center of your chest. Observe how your heart center softly broadens during the inhalation and lets go during the exhalation, dissolving into a state of comfort and current awareness. Permit your focus to reach across your clavicles now, generating a sense of openness across the uppermost part of your torso. And alongside your subsequent out-breath, instruct your shoulders to release. Allow them to drop any burdens they are not required to hold on to. Your shoulders are now unwinding. Direct an organic flow of release, extending entirely down to the very ends of your fingers. Sense how the upper portion of your arms loosens up. Your elbow joints unwind profoundly. The forearms become gentle and yield, and the joints of your wrists release into the void below them. When your focus arrives at your hands, they easily uncurl their hold. They abandon any urge to grasp, manage, or reject anything, unfolding with faith to the direction and backing provided by the cosmos. Whenever you feel prepared, your consciousness moves gradually backward, up your limbs, over the tops of your shoulders, and moving into the lateral areas of your neck. And visualize these muscular bands unwinding at this moment. Next, bring feeling into your oral cavity and jawline, instructing the lower jaw to softly release its bite. Comfort and letting go distribute across your whole visage, making your cheek areas supple, unwinding the sides of your forehead, ironing out every tiny muscle surrounding your orbital area and across your brow, the lateral portions of your skull, the rear of your cranium, and the very peak of your head all let go. Similarly, the internal mechanisms of your thoughts also unwind. Draw in several unhurried, purifying respirations into your mental area, which becomes increasingly weightless, progressively more open and vast, and bring feeling into your entire physical form for several gradual, consistent respirations. Alongside every inhalation, sense it softly enlarging, opening up to welcome the direction that is waiting for you, dissolving into more profound levels of tranquility alongside every outbreath, broadening to accept with every inward breath, accessing progressively more profound levels of calmness with every outward breath. Your respiration moves organically at this moment, while your focus centers once more inside your mind. Now picture a sparkling fog occupying the screen of your imagination, through which your awareness floats. You are currently being softly and securely led away from this physical dimension toward a destination where an ethereal guardian is waiting for you. In that place, you shall be escorted on a stabilized, star-illuminated voyage of lucid understanding and inner clarity. Therefore, observe at this moment as the fog starts to dissipate, allowing you to secure your steps upon a silent trail that winds through a peaceful woodland during twilight. The heavens progressively dim, transitioning from a pale purple hue to a profound, dark violet shade. However, you experience a total sense of security, entirely upheld and genuinely shielded by the timber surrounding you, by the earth under your feet, and the celestial canopy overhead. Take a moment to completely transition into this environment. The atmosphere feels balmy on this twilight, late in the spring season, carrying the crisp scent of evergreen needles, cedarwood, and damp moss. Observe the garments you are clothed in while you establish your presence within this woodland. Attired in fabrics that seem cozy and genuine to your true self, the top of your head stretches toward the leafy roof and the heavens higher up, while your shoulders dissolve downward toward the ground. Your abdomen unwinds, your palms become gentle, and your chest broadens toward the trail lying ahead. Gradually and consistently, you now commence your expedition through these woods. While you stroll, you absorb the environment of the forest Using every single one of your perceptive abilities, you observe the profound soil-like colors present in this location. Trunks of trees colored like dark cocoa, lush jewel-green fern leaves, and illumination tinted a metallic blue, mingled with patches of darkness thrown by the glow of the lunar surface. The trail under your steps feels forgiving and soft. A yielding blanket of dropped pine needles softens every single footfall, permeating the atmosphere with a stabilizing coniferous aroma. Furthermore, you are able to listen to the woodland winding down as nighttime approaches. A faint stirring down in the lower brush, a quiet sigh of the breeze in the upper branches above, alongside a profound quietness that permeates the entire scene. You breathe with absolute comfort, experiencing an increasing sense of backing with every stride you take. You remain uncertain of your exact destination, yet you have faith that this woodland is supporting you. You believe there is a specific purpose for your arrival in this place. At this moment, another sound reverberates through the atmosphere. Initially, it seems far away. It is so faint that it nearly disappears amidst the shifting of the foliage. But then it comes again, a profoundly deep, incredibly resonant vocalization of a hooting sound slowly begins to vibrate through the heavy, dark air of the nighttime woodland environment, capturing your entire and complete attention. The sound is incredibly rich, carrying a heavy weight that seems to fill the empty spaces between the trunks of the towering trees. This powerful and undeniable acoustic wave gently rolls and tumbles forward through the vast open air of the surrounding woods, moving with a profound sense of calm authority. It is deeply infused with an unmistakable feeling of boundless wisdom and absolute mental clarity, signaling the presence of something truly ancient and incredibly knowledgeable. Furthermore, this captivating and rhythmic auditory signal actively beckons and invites you to step forward and move steadily towards it. It acts as an invisible, magnetic thread, pulling your body and your entire awareness directly to the mysterious origin point of this incredibly deep, beautifully ancient sound that continues to ring out through the shadowy timberland. You confidently and peacefully continue your forward journey along the soft, naturally formed path, attentively following the repetitive and guiding call. Every step you take is purposeful and completely aligned with the rhythmic invitation that echoes endlessly through the tranquil and sleeping forest landscape. You possess a deep, unshakable inner knowing that you are completely safe and entirely protected within this specific location, and that the surrounding forest and absolutely every single living element contained within it holds absolutely nothing but your absolute highest and best interests at heart. There is a complete absence of fear, replaced only by a profoundly warm feeling of total security and natural sanctuary. And as you intentionally and slowly walk forward along the shadowed path, every single successive hooting sound becomes progressively and noticeably a little bit louder and much more distinct. The volume naturally increases, acting as a reliable and comforting compass that continuously guides your physical form deeper into the heart of the welcoming and ancient wilderness. You can intimately and physically feel its soothing, gentle vibration beginning to echo right inside the center of your chest, actively awakening and stirring something that is very deeply buried and wonderfully ancient, residing quietly within your own physical being. It is a sympathetic resonance that connects your internal spirit directly to the external heartbeat of the beautiful, dark forest. Moving forward with absolute ease and relying entirely on your own internal intuition, you successfully find your steady way directly to the physical source of the mesmerizing sound. And as you finally come to a complete stop, to stand quietly at the sturdy foot of an incredibly towering and massive pine tree, you slowly lift your upward gaze and successfully find exactly who has been continuously calling out to you. It is the magnificent and legendary great horned owl, proudly and securely perched at a very high elevation upon a remarkably sturdy and thick wooden branch, diligently and attentively watching over the vast expanse of the forest as the dark curtain of night completely falls over the landscape. Its distinctive and beautifully textured feathered tufts rise prominently from the top of its head, looking exactly like a pair of regal horns, and its incredibly bright, piercing eyes glow brightly in the darkness, resembling a pair of perfectly round, luminous full moons. This remarkable winged creature is undeniably large, incredibly majestic, and seemingly luminous from within, exactly as the pale silver light pouring down from the vast cosmos gently and softly lands upon its incredibly soft, beautifully patterned coat of feathers. Deliberately take a few slow, intentional moments right now to deeply sense and internally process the incredible energetic qualities that this magnificent being naturally and effortlessly emanates out into the environment. Specifically, you can feel its profound wisdom, its deep sense of protective care, and its absolute unwavering clarity. Then, closely and carefully notice that the owl's large glowing eyes lower and directly meet your very own eyes. And exactly as they make this powerful, silent visual connection, you can immediately sense and intuitively understand that this specific encounter has been a very long time in the making. The great horned owl, acting directly and purposefully as your own personal spiritual guide, has been patiently and quietly waiting in this exact location to offer you profound support and to actively help you effectively gain a much higher level of mental clarity and deep personal insight. These magnificent great horned owls are universally recognized and deeply known throughout ancient traditions to be powerful, reliable messengers and incredibly fiercely protective guardians of the natural world. They diligently and naturally help to effectively bridge the unseen energetic gap that exists between the physical realm of the earth and the ethereal, invisible realm of spirit. And they are known to fiercely protect absolutely everything that is considered deeply holy and sacred. So, precisely as you continue to stand peacefully right at the sturdy foot of this incredibly wise and deeply rooted towering pine tree, you slowly and gradually begin to internally sense and understand exactly why this specific, powerful guardian has miraculously appeared to you at this very specific moment in time. Perhaps there is a specific situation, a lingering question, or a certain pathway currently unfolding in your personal life that currently feels significantly unclear, slightly confusing, or completely hidden by a dense fog of absolute uncertainty. Perhaps this specific, unclear aspect of your current earthly journey desperately needs profound, reliable guidance and clear, unwavering direction originating from a significantly higher, much more elevated, and completely enlightened spiritual source. Or, as an alternative possibility, maybe there is a highly specific, deeply valuable element present in your current waking life that urgently and deeply needs dedicated, tender care and incredibly strong, reliable protection from outside forces. It could be something incredibly sacred, something deeply personal and vulnerable that is actively requiring your absolute, unwavering devotion, or a highly renewed, incredibly steadfast level of personal commitment. Simply and quietly allow yourself to sense deeply into the incredibly soft, gentle internal whispers and quiet, intuitive nudges that might possibly be softly arising and stirring within the very center of your own consciousness right now. These are the incredibly subtle, deeply quiet messages that softly and reliably let you intimately know the exact and precise core reason why you have been brought to this location tonight. And if, for whatever specific reason, the true core purpose of this journey isn't yet completely clear or totally obvious to your waking mind, you must know that this is entirely and completely okay too, as the absolute truth will definitely and undeniably be fully revealed to you exactly when the perfect time naturally arrives. Right now, exactly as you keep your focused, upward continually directed back up at the majestic feathered owl, you softly and gently whisper directly to it that you are completely and entirely ready to proceed. You softly communicate that you are completely, fully, and entirely ready for the profound, ancient wisdom of the spiritual realm to be gracefully and beautifully revealed to your open, waiting consciousness. And exactly as you confidently, clearly, and openly confirm your absolute state of readiness, the magnificent owl dramatically and beautifully flaps its massive, powerful wings and gracefully flies straight down through the dark air to gently and securely stand directly on the dirt path right in front of you. The beautiful creature appears significantly larger than life, a truly massive and awe-inspiring presence, and you instantly find yourself feeling deeply, profoundly, and completely enchanted, far beyond what any simple earthly words could possibly ever describe. And right now, directly because this magnificent creature stands completely still and peaceful right before your very eyes, you are easily and comfortably able to closely observe its magnificent, heavily feathered coat in incredibly fine, highly impressive, and close-up detail. You can plainly and clearly see layer upon overlapping layer of incredibly soft, dense, and beautifully constructed feathers that elegantly and perfectly cloak its intensely powerful, highly capable, and robust physical body. It presents itself as a rich, complex, and beautiful woven tapestry consisting of warm, glowing tones of gold, incredibly soft shades of muted ash, deep charcoal gray, and rich, vibrant hues of dark, earthy walnut wood. It features intensely captivating, warmly glowing, honey-colored eyes that feature incredibly large, completely dark, and seemingly bottomless black pupils. And miraculously, somehow, in some totally unexplainable and magical way, the creature's facial expression actually seems to softly and gently form a loving smile. The massive, friendly owl slowly and politely lowers its sharp, curved beak, respectfully and gently bowing its large head downwards, and then it slowly and carefully turns its broad, feathered back directly to you, silently and clearly inviting you to physically step forward and climb onto it. A deep, profoundly warm, and incredibly joyful inner smile immediately begins to stretch, expand, and radiate brightly through absolutely all of your internal organs and throughout your entire physical and energetic system. You silently and happily think to your own internal self about exactly how incredibly enchanted, how perfectly wonderful, and how absolutely beautiful this entire unbelievable experience truly is. you internally recognize how absolutely, wonderfully, and remarkably magical this specific, quiet, woodland moment genuinely feels to your spirit. And so, moving with an incredible sense of absolute trust and profound, deep physical comfort, you carefully, slowly, and confidently climb directly onto the broad, incredibly soft, and fully supportive feathered back of the waiting owl. You gently, carefully, and securely begin wrapping both of your human arms firmly and safely entirely around its thick, incredibly warm, and densely feathered neck, exactly as it begins to tense its massive muscles and formally prepares for immediate upward flight. Exactly when you are finally, completely, and totally comfortably settled and perfectly balanced in that specific, secure position, the powerful owl immediately and gracefully soars directly upwards into the vast expanse of the dark sky, expertly and smoothly weaving its large body beautifully through the thick, heavy branches of the incredibly ancient, towering trees of the surrounding forest. Throughout this entirely amazing, highly elevated, and incredibly smooth aerial journey, you consistently and continuously feel entirely safe, perfectly protected, completely enchanted, and profoundly, deeply, and unconditionally loved. The earlier twilight hours of dusk have now officially and completely transitioned into the profound darkness of deep night, and the massive, endless expanse of the open sky directly above your head is now a breathtakingly deep, rich, and heavily saturated shade of sapphire blue. This massive, beautifully dark celestial canopy constantly and brightly shimmers, sparkles, and glows with the intense, beautiful light of many thousands of individual twinkling stars, heavily accompanied by the incredibly bright, shining, and intensely beaming presence of a massive, perfectly round full moon. And exactly as you quietly, peacefully, and joyfully marvel at the unbelievable, staggering beauty of the entire natural world situated both far above you and entirely below you, the incredibly strong, utterly reliable owl continuously and effortlessly continues to physically carry you safely and smoothly through the upper canopy of the vast, quiet woods. You can easily, intimately, and clearly feel the crisp, cool, incredibly refreshing evening air gently and softly brush exactly against the sensitive skin of your warm cheeks. And perhaps you can even feel the invisible, gentle wind flowing effortlessly and smoothly directly through the strands of your own hair. You internally, deeply, and profoundly sense the absolute, unbridled freedom, the innocent, childlike wonder, and the massive, boundless realm of complete and total possibility that actively and vibrantly lives all around you in the environment and simultaneously deep within your own core. Your beating human heart significantly, vastly, and beautifully widens its energetic capacity to fully embrace the profound mystery, the deep secrets, and the loving, gentle guidance provided entirely by the unseen realm of spirit. Right now, the massive flying owl purposefully, deliberately, and noticeably begins to slow its rapid forward momentum through the dark, cooling air. And looking ahead, you can clearly and easily see the dense, thick lines of the towering evergreen trees finally beginning to physically part, separate, and open up significantly in the near distance. With the intake of your very next, unhurried, and deeply relaxing breath, you finally reach the ultimate physical end of the aerial path, exactly as the dense forest completely opens up and dramatically expands into a beautiful hidden glade, which is a wonderfully small, completely open clearing situated deep within the woods that is totally blanketed by soft, moonlit grass, delicate, blooming wildflowers, and massive stretches of entirely exposed, solid bedrock. The powerfully curved, razor-sharp talons of the great owl eventually and gracefully meet directly with the solid, supportive surface of the earth, expertly and completely steadying its massive, heavy body entirely before you carefully, slowly, and safely climb down from its back and step directly into the quiet, open clearing. The very bottoms of your feet instantly and deeply feel entirely grounded, stable, and completely secure as they press directly into the glowing, beautifully shimmering, massive stretch of ancient solid rock situated directly beneath them, exactly as your upward gaze slowly lifts and elevates to perfectly meet the dizzying, unbelievable, and completely endless vastness of the dark space suspended far above. The countless individual stars shining in this location are noticeably and significantly brighter, sharper, and much more luminous than you have ever personally seen them before in your entire life. And they remarkably and inexplicably seem to actively radiate a deep, undeniable sense of living, breathing consciousness. To phrase it in other, much more specific words, you completely and totally realize that they are absolutely not just cold, dead, completely inanimate spherical objects suspended randomly in the black sky. They too are fierce, deeply committed, and highly ancient protectors of the entire universe. They too are deeply wise, incredibly reliable, and entirely loving spiritual guides available for you to interact with. The magnificent owl has purposefully, deliberately, and safely brought you directly to this specific, highly isolated location to allow you to intimately and deeply connect with the profound, boundless wisdom and the incredibly deep, universal knowing of the entire cosmic universe. The bird patiently and silently stands right next to you, functioning as an incredibly steady, completely reliable, and deeply grounded intermediary bridge linking directly between exactly what is considered completely earthly and exactly what is considered entirely cosmic, as well as seamlessly connecting exactly what is physically seen by the human eyes and exactly what remains completely unseen by the mortal world. So, please deliberately and slowly take a quiet, highly focused moment right now to deeply and internally reconnect with the exact specific reason that fundamentally led your spirit to arrive in this incredibly magical place tonight. Is there a specific, highly detailed, or currently ongoing situation in your waking life that could absolutely, desperately, and practically use a dose of highly wise, deeply considered, and completely enlightened direction? Or alternatively, is there a particular, highly important, and deeply cherished relationship or project in your everyday life that actively and strongly yearns for a newly refreshed, completely renewed sense of deep commitment or absolute unwavering devotion? Slowly, carefully, and purposefully, begin to formulate a highly specific, totally clear, and totally focused question inside your mind to physically ask the glowing stars above, and then confidently, clearly, and openly speak those exact chosen words out loud directly to the vast, open expanse of the dark sky. Stand completely still, watch the heavens quietly, and listen with absolute, unbroken attention for absolutely any tiny shred of profound wisdom or deep guidance that is finally completely ready to effortlessly come entirely through the atmosphere to you. And if, by chance, you are still absolutely not completely sure exactly why you are standing right here in this specific moment, you might simply choose to humbly, openly, and genuinely ask the universe, how can I successfully and fully align my own energetic self significantly more closely and completely with my true, deeply authentic, and originally intended life path? How can I successfully and fully align my own energetic self significantly more closely and completely with my true, deeply authentic, and originally intended life path? The specific, highly sought after insight might ultimately and gracefully come directly to your consciousness as extremely soft, gently whispered words echoing inside your mind, or beautifully and visually as a completely brand new, highly complex and glowing constellation that magically forms and connects right before your very eyes in the dark, open sky. Or as an alternative option, you might deeply and vividly imagine the magnificent owl silently soaring high against the incredibly deep, vast, and endless sapphire expanse of the night, directly transmitting profound, incredibly powerful celestial wisdom straight down to you, arriving into your body as a highly subtle, incredibly quiet, but deeply and profoundly felt sense of absolute inner knowing. You must remember that there is absolutely no correct, perfect, or definitively right or wrong way to physically or mentally experience this entire, deeply personal process. Simply focus your mind and gently, clearly, and honestly ask your own deeply personal question. Completely and totally let go of the rigid, tight grip of your constantly calculating, highly analytical, and heavily logical human mind. And instead, simply allow absolutely whatever information is currently prepared and fully ready to be known to effortlessly, gracefully, and easily come entirely through the cosmic veil. Continue to quietly and peacefully stand there to attentively watch. Closely listen and deeply feel every single sensation, completely and totally absorbing absolutely any and all profound wisdom or gentle guidance that either the glowing stars above or the majestic owl beside you purposely and deliberately passes directly onto your waiting spirit. And deeply, profoundly remember that you are absolutely not brought here to this location to forcefully demand, aggressively push, or heavily force absolutely anything at all to happen. Simply take the time to beautifully, gently, and warmly widen the energetic capacity of your open heart, your quiet mind, and your deep soul to completely, unconditionally, and totally receive exactly what is offered. Right now, take a moment to carefully ask the massive, boundless universe an incredibly precise, highly specific, and deeply focused question, fully knowing and understanding that the cosmic answer might simply and gently reaffirm exactly what profound knowledge has already organically come through. Or it could remarkably be something entirely brand new and totally unexpected. What highly specific, internal, and deeply held personal quality will best assist and help me to boldly, bravely, and confidently move entirely forward in the absolute exact direction of all my highest, most deeply cherished dreams? What highly specific, internal, and deeply held personal quality will best assist and help me to boldly, bravely, and confidently move entirely forward in the absolute exact direction of all my highest, most deeply cherished dreams? Listen incredibly closely and with absolute unwavering attention to exactly what the glowing ancient stars have to specifically and directly say to you. Or carefully, quietly, and gently notice exactly what subtle, energetic, and completely silent feeling the magnificent owl actively and intentionally transmits into your waking awareness. What specific, highly important, and totally crucial energetic quality is the massive, endlessly wise universe directly and specifically asking you to fully, unconditionally, and entirely embrace starting right now? And exactly as you continue to peacefully, quietly, and entirely stand right here, perfectly situated in the absolute center of the beautiful dark glade, completely surrounded on all sides by incredibly wise, impossibly old, and deeply ancient evergreen trees, with a completely loving, entirely supportive, and deeply solid earth resting perfectly and securely directly beneath the soles of your resting feet. Begin to deeply, fully, and completely feel that exact, highly specific, energetic quality rapidly and wonderfully filling up your entire physical and spiritual vessel completely with each and every single deep, satisfying breath that you take. Deeply and profoundly know in your absolute core that absolutely whatever specific, highly crucial, energetic element or profound wisdom it is that you deeply and truly need is incredibly, widely, and totally abundant everywhere throughout the entire, massive universe. Slowly, carefully, and deeply breathe it all completely inside of yourself. Slowly, carefully, and deeply breathe it all completely inside of yourself. Slowly, carefully, and deeply breathe it all completely inside of yourself. If the magnificent, massive owl is currently gracefully and beautifully soaring high up through the endless, dark, and sparkling expanse of the deep night sky, attentively, quietly, and peacefully, watch it slowly and smoothly settle all the way back down completely onto the solid surface of the dirt and earth directly next to where you are standing, exactly as it slowly and carefully completes this simple movement. Its massive, brilliantly glowing, and entirely luminous eyes gently and warmly meet your very own eyes directly once again, and you can practically, undeniably, and almost physically hear its deep, ancient voice softly and beautifully whisper the following profound, comforting words directly into your very soul. It clearly and unequivocally says that the massive, entirely infinite universe is unconditionally, constantly, and absolutely always supporting you in every single step you take. You can completely, safely, and entirely lean heavily on all of us, on all of your dedicated, loving spiritual guides, completely and totally at absolutely any time you could ever possibly need us. Purposefully and slowly, take a few more deeply satisfying, incredibly long, and completely restorative breaths to fully, entirely, and deeply absorb absolutely any final pieces of lingering, incredibly profound last wisdom, specific, helpful direction, or deep internal insight that either the glowing ancient stars above or this incredibly majestic, deeply wise owl would ultimately like you to carefully hold on to. And precisely at this current, deeply tranquil and entirely quiet moment in time, as the heavy air settles softly around you in the dark forest, you can softly, intuitively, and deeply begin to genuinely sense and completely understand, without a single shadow of a doubt, that this magnificent, deeply magical, and profoundly enlightening spiritual journey is finally and peacefully nearing its ultimate, natural conclusion. You are noticeably, gently, and comfortably growing wonderfully tired, sleepy, and heavy in your resting physical form, feeling completely, unconditionally, and totally ready to willingly allow absolutely everything, every single profound lesson and beautiful piece of cosmic wisdom that you have successfully gained here in this sacred, moonlit space to effortlessly become significantly more fully, profoundly, and deeply integrated into the very fabric of your subconscious mind, exactly as you peacefully drift into a healing, restorative sleep. Consequently, moving with an incredible sense of deep gratitude and a slow, heavy, sinking feeling of pure relaxation, you carefully, deliberately, and securely climb all the way back directly onto the massive, incredibly soft, and beautifully feathered back of the giant waiting owl once again. You deliberately, gently, and lovingly wrap both of your tired, heavy human arms completely and safely around its incredibly warm, deeply supportive, and heavily muscled neck in quiet, peaceful preparation for the long return trip through the nighttime air. Immediately after you are completely settled, completely comfortable, and perfectly balanced, the magnificent, ancient creature powerfully and gracefully soars directly upward into the vast, dark, and sparkling expanse of the open night sky, beautifully and smoothly circling high above the open, moon-drenched clearing of the glade for a total of 2, or perhaps exactly 3 complete, sweeping, majestic rotations. It flawlessly completes these massive aerial circles entirely before deliberately and purposefully moving its rapid flight path straight back into the dense, thick, heavily shadowed canopy of the ancient forest, expertly and smoothly, flying directly back down the exact same darkened, winding woodland path that originally and safely brought your physical form to this hidden, magical remote location. The massive bird continuously, fluidly, and effortlessly weaves its large, majestic, and powerful body in, out, under, and around the heavy, towering trunks and impossibly thick, ancient branches of the surrounding evergreen trees. It continuously, carefully, and reliably carries your relaxed, incredibly heavy body completely safely, entirely securely, and without a single moment of hesitation, directly back to the exact physical starting point where you initially and wonderfully first arrived within the peaceful, dark, and whispering woods. And precisely as the graceful, completely silent creature finally reaches that exact, deeply familiar starting place on the forest floor, it beautifully, softly, and incredibly gently touches its sharp, curved talons directly down onto the solid, supportive ground of the dirt path. Moving with extremely slow, heavy, and delightfully sleepy movements, you carefully, securely, and peacefully climb back down from its broad, feathered back to stand firmly, safely, and securely upon the steady surface of the earth once more. You purposefully, intentionally, and quietly take exactly one more lingering, deeply meaningful, and beautifully silent moment in time to look incredibly closely and gaze profoundly directly into the glowing, incredibly wise, and seemingly bottomless golden eyes of your magnificent, dedicated animal spirit guide. Following that profound, entirely unforgettable visual connection, you gently, respectfully, and deeply bow your own human head down low in order to properly, formally honor this incredible ancient being, and to formally, genuinely, and warmly give your absolute deepest thanks and boundless gratitude for absolutely everything that it so graciously, patiently, and beautifully helped you to clearly see, profoundly learn, or magically discover about yourself and the vast, endless universe on this very night. Moving incredibly quietly, almost completely silently, and without making a single audible sound to disturb the quiet woods, the magnificent creature beautifully and swiftly flies right back off into the dark night, soaring smoothly and effortlessly through the dense network of heavy, ancient trees. It journeys completely and safely back to its own hidden, secure, and permanent home, located extremely high up within the heavy, thick, and protective branches of that incredibly ancient, deeply rooted, and massively towering forest pine tree. Carefully, slowly, and gently, notice right now, at this exact moment, that a beautifully glowing, lightly shimmering, and deeply magical silver mist is actively, softly beginning to thickly and completely fill up the entire surrounding physical forest, setting existing entirely within your mind's internal, highly imaginative eye. You peacefully, quietly, and calmly watch closely exactly as all the vivid, beautiful, and highly detailed visual imagery of this entire woodland realm incredibly slowly, softly, and peacefully dissolves, melts, loses its sharp form, and totally fades completely away into the glowing, obscuring fog of the silver mist. Next, deliberately, gently, and smoothly, send the very core of your own inner, floating consciousness traveling incredibly gently, softly, and beautifully, effortlessly directly through that thick, shimmering, and cloudy mist for the entire, unhurried, and deeply peaceful duration of roughly 2 or perhaps exactly 3 deep, incredibly slow, and fully relaxing respirations. You continue to float smoothly, travel effortlessly, and drift peacefully through the magical fog until you remarkably, gently, and incredibly slowly come entirely and completely back directly into your own physical, resting, and heavy human body. You effortlessly, seamlessly, and intimately return to actively feeling the incredibly soft, incredibly warm, and completely supportive mattress of the bed resting entirely beneath your heavy, sinking form, alongside the deeply comforting, extremely soft, and plush pillow positioned directly and securely beneath the resting weight of your tired head. Absolutely all of the profound, incredible inside wisdom, deep cosmic insight, and clear, unwavering life direction that you successfully, openly, and genuinely receive directly from the glowing, ancient stars and the magnificent, deeply knowledgeable owl while standing within that highly peaceful, beautifully moonlit glade will undoubtedly, permanently, and entirely stay securely with you, deep inside your resting spirit. These incredible, powerful, deeply transformative, and wildly inspiring spiritual lessons will actively, positively, and continually inspire, motivate, and gently guide all of your waking thoughts and physical actions as you courageously move forward into the bright, unfolding reality of the many days that lie directly ahead of you on your earthly path. However, specifically for this current, exact, and beautifully quiet resting moment in time, there is absolutely, completely, and totally nothing left for your tired, heavy mind to actively envision. Absolutely no further lingering questions to curiously inquire about, and absolutely no complex, heavy philosophical concepts left to actively ponder, dissect, or intensely contemplate. The absolute only single thing that is genuinely, softly, and gently asked of you entirely right now is that you completely, unconditionally, and totally physically and mentally surrender to the present moment, abandoning all resistance. You are simply, gently, and warmly asked to fully allow your own exhausted, heavy self to deeply, profoundly, and unconditionally rest, and to beautifully, entirely be completely healed and fully restored by the passage of the dark, quiet night for exactly one final, deeply relaxing, and ultimately concluding time, acting directly as a gentle, soothing, and incredibly effective transitionary bridge, linking directly between the fading, final state of conscious wakefulness and the rapidly approaching heavy realm of deep, healing sleep. I warmly, kindly, and entirely invite you to incredibly slowly, wonderfully gently, and completely in tandem, exactly along with the soothing, rhythmic sound of my verbal guidance, comprehensively, deeply, and intentionally scan your entire physical body to achieve a final state of profound, incredibly deep release and total, absolute muscular relaxation. Formally begin this final, deeply relaxing physical process by softly, gently, and warmly sensing directly into the very topmost point, the absolute highest peak and crown of your resting, heavy head, and consciously, deliberately, and peacefully inviting absolutely all of your racing, active, rapid, or lingering mental thoughts to entirely, completely, and unconditionally let go of their tight, stubborn grip on your resting awareness. Intimately, deeply, and physically feel a massive, heavy, and incredibly soothing, energetic wave of pure, absolute physical surrender. Softly, gently, begin to initially form. Feel it beautifully, gently, and warmly stretch, expand, and heavily wash completely across the entire flat, smooth, relaxing expanse of your tired forehead. Then, clearly, effortlessly, and easily feel it continue to smoothly ripple, flow, and cascade directly downwards entirely through the soft, yielding muscles of your resting cheeks and sinking incredibly deeply into the heavy, entirely relaxed hinges of your unclenching lower jaw. This cascading, soothing, warm wave is actively, incredibly effectively, and completely dissolving, melting, destroying, and entirely washing away absolutely any and all tiny fragments of lingering, stubborn, or deeply hidden residual tension located absolutely anywhere within the entire complex physical and mental area of your heavy headspace. Your entire, completely heavy, entirely sinking, and utterly relaxed whole physical head, directly alongside the incredibly quiet, completely still, and peacefully resting mechanisms of your internal, analytical thinking mind, completely, totally, and entirely surrender all of their remaining physical weight directly down into the soft, comforting, and incredibly welcoming fabric of the plush pillows. You completely and unconditionally trust entirely in the soft, cozy bedding currently, reliably, and perfectly supporting them from immediately below. Following that absolute, profound cranial relaxation, openly, warmly, and completely welcome this profound, incredibly heavy sense of physical ease and total, deep muscular release to continuously, fluidly, and smoothly pour exactly like warm, heavy liquid directly down into the broad, deeply resting muscles of both your left and right shoulders. Allow it to heavily, comfortably, beautifully, and endlessly flow continuously straight downwards, entirely through the entire length of your upper, heavy arms and directly through the joints of your elbows. And finally, allow it to continue flowing, feeling it softly, gently, and peacefully. Pool, collect, heavily gather, and perfectly settle directly within the center, open, completely ungripped hollows of the soft palms of both of your deeply resting hands. Consciously, directly, openly, and peacefully invite the entire physical length of both your tired, heavy arms and the complex resting structures of your heavy hands to entirely, absolutely, unconditionally, and completely let go of absolutely any and all lingering, tight, energetic holding. In this exact, perfectly quiet, utterly still, and flawlessly peaceful moment in time, there is absolutely, undeniably nothing in the physical, waking world that they deeply need to actively repair, construct, or urgently fix. There is absolutely, completely nothing for them to aggressively force into its proper place or forcefully, tightly attempt to artificially control. Continue to incredibly, naturally, deeply, seamlessly, and continuously breathe with an incredible, unparalleled level of absolute physical comfort and total, undeniable ease directly into the broad, open, rising and falling expanse of your resting chest cavity. You are constantly, gently, softly, and beautifully inviting both your actively beating, rhythmic, steady heart and your fully expanding, heavy, deeply resting lungs to profoundly, completely, wonderfully, and totally soften all of their internal tissues alongside the passage of each and every single consecutive, slow, deeply relaxing out-breath that peacefully leaves your heavy body. Furthermore, purposefully, softly, deliberately, and gently invite the entire, massive, complex, heavily muscled structure of your entire resting bag to completely, unconditionally, fully, and totally surrender its massive weight directly to the supportive mattress beneath you as well. Instruct these massive, heavy back muscles to fully, entirely, intentionally, and finally completely release absolutely any tight, hidden, stubborn pockets of deeply held physical tension that it may still secretly, unconsciously, and entirely unnecessarily be continuously holding on to. And openly, gently grant it the complete, absolute, unconditional, and total permission to wonderfully, completely, seamlessly, and incredibly deeply rest in absolute, unending physical and mental peace. Quietly, softly, gently, and intentionally. Let the glowing, highly focused beam of your internal, calming mental awareness incredibly slowly drift straight downwards to perfectly, seamlessly, and completely land directly within the deeply soft, profoundly fleshy center of your deeply resting heavy belly. You are actively, consciously, purposefully, and completely giving this specific, deeply important physical area your total, absolute, unconditional, and full permission to beautifully, fully, completely, and entirely naturally expand outward into the surrounding room exactly on the intake of the deeply restorative, rising inhale, and to genuinely, profoundly, incredibly, completely, and totally release absolutely all of its muscular holding precisely on the downward, sinking sigh of the endlessly returning, deeply relaxing exhale, and continuously, smoothly, fluidly, and beautifully allow this incredible, spreading, incredibly heavy, and deeply intoxicating sense of total bodily surrender to continue to beautifully, steadily, and completely endlessly expand its relaxing reach. Feel it smoothly moving downwards, entirely, fully, comprehensively, and completely filling up the absolute entirety of your complex, deeply resting pelvic space with heavy, intensely warm, deeply relaxing, and profoundly soothing internal energy. Gently, softly, smoothly, and highly intentionally guide the very base of your long spine, your heavy, resting tailbone, to securely, heavily, entirely, and firmly anchor itself just a tiny, highly significant little bit deeper into the invisible, incredibly supportive, and wonderfully heavy energy of the solid earth located incredibly far below the floorboards of your room. You are continuously, profoundly, immensely, and entirely feeling completely grounded to reality, totally and unconditionally physically supported by the vast universe, and incredibly, deeply, profoundly, wonderfully, and entirely, completely, physically relaxed in absolutely every single physical dimension possible. Right now, at this exact, deeply concluding juncture, consciously, warmly, intentionally, and completely invite this beautiful, heavy, profoundly relaxing physical process to successfully, entirely, flawlessly, and fully complete its long, restorative, and highly healing downward journey entirely through the remaining length of your heavy, resting physical body. Feel this profound, incredible ease and deep, entirely heavy muscular release steadily, smoothly, beautifully, and continuously flowing directly downwards, entirely into the massive, resting, deeply heavy muscles of your unwinding upper thighs. Feel it smoothly continuing downward, heavily pouring entirely into the incredibly soft, deeply unwinding, and utterly relaxed muscles of your lower calves. And finally, feel it smoothly cascading absolutely all the way down, finally and wonderfully reaching the very distant, sensitive tips of every single one of your 10 deeply resting, completely relaxed toes. It is an absolutely unbelievably profound, incredibly deep, wholly overwhelming, and entirely total, unconditional surrender of the entire, complete mass of your resting physical being. Both of your heavy, exhausted, tired, and deeply resting legs completely, entirely, undeniably, and unconditionally relax their grip on reality, surrendering entirely to the pull of gravity. In this incredibly quiet, totally still, entirely peaceful, and highly sacred nocturnal moment, there is absolutely, completely nowhere in the physical, busy, waking world that they urgently need, excitedly want, slightly desire, or even possess the slightest lingering motivation to actively take you or carry you right now. Intimately, profoundly, heavily and deeply feel the absolute heavy entirety of your whole, connected, breathing physical body exactly as it perfectly, peacefully, safely and quietly rests right here in this specific, utterly safe and completely secure location. It is incredibly gently positioned in space, unbelievably deeply and securely grounded into the heavy earth, and entirely, completely, flawlessly and wonderfully physically relaxed in every single muscle fiber. And it is completely, perfectly, entirely, and unconditionally ready to immediately begin to fully heal, profoundly restore, and completely rejuvenate all of its lost daily energy entirely through the magical, highly restorative, and wonderfully rejuvenating process of incredibly deep, totally uninterrupted, and profoundly peaceful sleep. And precisely as you rapidly begin to incredibly slowly, peacefully, and wonderfully drift off into the dark, quiet, empty void, entirely quietly, completely smoothly, and beautifully, effortlessly, you must absolutely, deeply, consciously, and profoundly know in your very core that the massive, infinite, and incredibly ancient universe continuously, tirelessly, wonderfully, and lovingly continues to securely, safely watch entirely over your resting, heavily sleeping form. The magnificent, incredibly wise, entirely profound spirit owl and the deeply ancient, brightly glowing, entirely protective stars suspended infinitely far above in the cosmos are permanently, completely, intimately, and unconditionally always energetically present, right there directly with you in every moment of your life. They are constantly, fiercely, deeply, and forever always actively protecting your fragile spirit from absolutely all harm. They are completely, safely, beautifully, and wonderfully always perfectly nestled, entirely hidden, and safely resting directly within the very center of your own beautifully expansive soul. You possess the incredible, entirely open, wonderful, and beautiful absolute ability to easily, fully, rapidly, and completely reconnect your conscious waking mind directly with their profound, incredibly ancient, and totally boundless energy in the many bright, happy, waking coming days, completely, safely, and entirely at absolutely any given time you should ever possibly so choose. However, exclusively and entirely, for right now, precisely during this exact, highly specific, delightfully heavy, and beautifully peaceful sleeping moment, completely, entirely, fully, and unconditionally allow the incredibly steady, wonderfully rhythmic, deeply hypnotic, and highly repetitive, beautiful rising and falling motion of your very own natural, unhurried breath to softly, wonderfully, deeply, and incredibly gently rock your entire physical and mental being directly and completely into a final state of profound, uninterrupted, and totally restorative sleep. Each and every single consecutive, rhythmic, unhurried cycle of your heavy, restful breathing acts perfectly, precisely, flawlessly, and beautifully exactly as a highly gentle, incredibly soft, and profoundly rolling oceanic wave that continuously, deeply softens your tension and profoundly, entirely soothes your incredibly tired, resting mind. And so, exactly as we officially conclude this profound, magical, deeply healing, and highly restorative journey entirely, until the very next time we have the beautiful, wonderful opportunity to peacefully and happily meet again. Have an incredibly deep, wonderfully restorative, entirely peaceful, and beautifully profound good night, my very dear, deeply cherished, and wonderful friend. Good night to you, and may you sleep in absolute, unending, and totally perfect peace